So boys, I've been playing a little bit of Lockdown. This is the Crucible Labs version of Zone Control. If any of you guys remember Zone Control, that was a pretty fun playlist back in Destiny 1. It was really fun to watch during sweats. And essentially, Bungie's trying to test out this playlist and see whether or not this is going to be a permanent playlist inside Crucible. Now let's talk about Lockdown. What is the objective here? So essentially, guys, it is Zone Control in some ways, except it can end much faster than what it could in Zone Control. You have 3 zones, and ideally, you want to hold more zones than the enemy team. But if one team captures all 3 zones undisputed, then they immediately win the round. This is actually a really cool twist on Zone Control, because whenever I see someone capturing another point in Zone Control, I'm like, I'll get over there here soon. But if you see somebody capping that 3rd and final point, my God, you better get to a point real quick or you're about to lose the entire round. This also forces the entire game type to be very, very team-based. I tried playing a lot of this as a solo player, and I found out very quickly that that is a no bueno, essentially because a lot of my teammates didn't know we were supposed to cap points. But having 2 good teams go at it is really fun to not only play, but to also watch. So overall, guys, I'm very impressed with Lockdown. Showdown was not a big one for me. I didn't really care for it, but Lockdown is definitely a playlist that I would like to see become possibly a permanent playlist in competitive. All right, guys, so let's talk about the weapon slot changes that are coming up. It's actually going to be August the 28th when we're going to be looking at these weapon slot changes, which is a week before Forsaken actually drops. This is a bold move on Bungie's part. You got to understand, guys, they are not selling a DLC and saying you have to buy this in order for the game to be fixed. No, they are shipping this out a week beforehand. Along with the weapon slot changes, though, is also a global time to kill adjustment, essentially giving a blanket buff to all our weapons and abilities. And we're all going to be able to see this in action on August the 7th. So this is a ballsy move, man. One I was not expecting from Bungie. We had already heard, and they got a little bit of backlash whenever we heard that time to kill was not going to be adjusted until after Forsaken was launched. And with previous DLCs, that's normally how things work. It's like the DLC is already set in stone. It will be shipped, and then everything else would fall into place afterwards. What I'm happy to say is that Bungie is now understanding that that business model is not working. And it would not work, not just with the current fan base in Destiny, but older players that have already given up on the game months and months ago, are now actually going to be able to try these weapon slot changes as well as the time to kill changes here before Forsaken even drops. So guys, I applaud Bungie for this move. This is a big one, and one I think it's going to make all the difference in terms of getting the hype even more generated for this DLC. Now, when we talked about time to kill, we did touch up on some numbers the other day. Now, the only thing we could gauge it off of was a 600 round per minute auto rifle. In the footage, we saw it hitting 21 per crit, which puts it in line with the same optimal time to kill for something like a 600 round per minute auto rifle in Destiny 1, which is approximately 0.9 seconds. So I would assume that we could be looking somewhere between a 0.8 to 0.9 second average time to kill for a majority of our weapons. A big thing for me is the lethality of our abilities. Nothing sucks worse than landing a perfect incendiary grenade to only see it do 100 damage and then 6 ticks afterwards. That is a killer. Our abilities have got to do more damage. You see these teams, especially in 6v6, they clump up together so much, and the reason why they clump up so much is because they have nothing to fear. There's not a perfectly landed lightning grenade that's about to take them all out. So abilities are needing just as much of a buff as everything else. Now, I'm not saying we need one-hit kill sticky grenades again, but this team clumping that you see, and you know, there's ways to break it up even now, and it's better than what it was before, but the team clumping is mainly there because we don't have abilities that we can rely on to break people up. That is why so many people in D1 stayed so spread from each other and went off in various different directions, because it was never advantageous to be on top of each other. One good grenade and you got a team wipe. Well guys, those are my thoughts on Lockdown, as well as the weapon slot and time to kill changes that are coming to our weapons and abilities. Now, I'll be touching up on everything this week because we do have the Summer Solstice coming, and there's going to be a lot of new stuff that's going to be released this week with all of that. I'll be updating y'all more as we go along, as well as covering all the new catalysts that are coming out. And again, the catalysts that are coming is for Rat King, Stroh's Regime, Fighting Lion, Hard Light, and the Prospector. Some really good catalysts coming for those. We'll be touching up on that tomorrow because I'll actually put out a video on all of those catalysts. But guys, thank you all for coming and watching this video, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.